This video we're going to go over how to create event records for festivals and organized events. So we are on the festivals and organized events listing page now, which is under the events section here. And you can see we have a few events put in now. Now these events also show up in the event calendar, so we can go straight to the calendar. And we'll just move ahead here. And you can see they show up. So for example, for this particular golf tournament, it runs from the 5th to the 7th. And so you can see we have a block that actually spans those days. So visitors to the site can visually see quickly the start and the end date of an event or a festival. So we're going to create a new festival and organized event here, and we're going to do fireworks by the lake as an example. So we'll say fireworks by the lake. This address doesn't make any sense, I'm sure, but just put something in there. We have a website here, and this can be used for the organization that's putting on the event. And there's also a separate, or you can use it for the event website, but there's also a separate event website down here. So if you did want both websites listed, you can certainly do that. So for the event dates, this is where the power of events comes into play. So we can have a start date and an end date for something, which the tournaments that we were looking at, the golf tournaments, were a good example of that. And so you would pick your start date and your end date. And you can set your start time and end time. Now if they're all-day events, you can just set all day and the times will disappear. And if it's a one-day event, you just turn off show end date. And no problem. So I'm going to turn that off. So for our fireworks example, we're going to say it runs every Friday night at around 10. We'll put a little note in there that says, they actually start just after sunset. And we're going to say that we start on the 25th of May and every Friday night through the summer. So this is where we get into the repeat rules. So we can say that an event repeats weekly, daily, monthly, or yearly. And then you get into how often it repeats, if it's every week, every 2 weeks, and which days of the week that the event occurs on. So in this case, we're going to say it's every Friday night, every week. And you can say stop after, say, 4 weeks or 4 occurrences, or you can set a specific end date. Now, you want to use this date for repeat dates. You don't want to use the end date, because if you do the end date and set this, for example, to the end of August, then we're going to have those blocks that you saw for the tournament. You'll have one big block that runs from May 25th to August 31st, which will really make the calendar look quite horrendous. So you want to avoid the end dates for repeating dates and just use the stop repeating section down here. So we're going to say on. Go ahead and click in that field. Brings up our little handy dandy calendar. We're going to say August 31st. Now you can also exclude dates within that range. So if there's a date that you're not having fireworks for some reason in this case, or if you're adding a couple extra dates here and there but they're not a regular basis, you can include dates as well. So we're going to say Canada Day weekend, for example. We're going to say, let's say Friday night, we're going to cancel them. So that's June 29th. So there's no fireworks Friday night, because instead we're going to do it on Canada Day evening. Then we can get into our description here. Fireworks summary. Fridays at 10 minutes past sunset. I'm going to copy this down. And we'll choose a listing image. Our image doesn't necessarily have anything to do with fireworks, but let's pick a family here. They're just waiting. They're obviously early because it's plenty bright out, but we'll go with that image. Just wait for this to resize. Sometimes it just takes a second. There we go. And we'll come over here. And we'll just upload one picture for our picture gallery. You don't have to put in pictures for all your record types, but I think it really helps sell whatever, if it's an event or if it's an accommodation record or a nature adventure. I think pictures really help visitors to your site get a feel for what it is you have on the site. So the location section here Again, we like to just pick that exact location when possible, because Google has a hard time in the region determining exactly where things are based on address. So we're just going to pick a spot along the lake here and say that they're going off there. And we're going to click Save. So we can see it came up. It tells us that it's every Friday. It starts here. It's every Friday until the 31st, except for this date, but we've added this date. We have our picture gallery down here. Now if we go to the listing of festivals and organized events, you might be surprised to see multiple listings for the same event. Well, that actually makes sense if you think about it, because we want to show visitors that it's May 25th, it's also June 1st, it's also this date. So for example, once the date is past May 25th, this entry will actually disappear from the site and we'll only see June 1st until June 1st goes by. So as more events get filled into the site, you'll see less side-by-side events, and they'll kind of get spread out, and it gives visitors a good idea for what's going on within a specific date range. So, and of course, everything is listed from the most recent event that's coming up to later events. As we come down here, you can see we have multiple pages, so users can jump around. And now we're going to jump over to the event calendar, and you'll see where it is in here. So you see we get one little block for every date that has the fireworks. So we have May 25th, and then June 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd, but not the 29th because we changed that. So we excluded that, and we moved it to July 1st. And then we're back to every Friday night right until the end of August. Now if we had to set an end date for that, as I showed you a little earlier there, then we would have had one big block running all the way from May 25th to August 31st, which would have made a real mess of the calendar. And that is festivals and organized events.